The business of city power as a source of clean and sustainable electricity supply is one that lies at the core of service delivery, which is why we had a one-on-one with the MMC of Environment and Infrastructure, Michael Sun. What has been keeping him busy? The multi-party government says it is running the city through an efficient and profitable manner. This as City Power adopts a new model to help cut costs. MMC Michael Sun announced the discontinuation of call-out fees, a charge paid to contractors to assess the problem and advise City Power regarding the required repairs.
City Power, after assessing the call-out fees paid to the contractors of City Power, we discovered that this is something that we can really save, and the work can still be done by our internal resources. Simply put is that when a contractor goes out to look at a fault, they charge us 986 Rand as a call-out fee. And in reducing that expense, we are then able to say that whatever savings we get, it was about 10 million Rand in the last 12 months, that we then are able to use that saving to invest it back into infrastructure development as we need. But it doesn't hamper the service delivery. It certainly doesn't hamper anything that City Power has to do to ensure that the faults are being repaired, whatever problems that we need to go out and replace. But it's really just a cost-saving exercise that we thought that would be best.
And who are the beneficiaries of this exercise?
So we wanted a fair and balanced approach. So whatever the residents pay less, obviously the city pay less. Ultimately, we all benefit. But I suppose the one sector that would receive a bit of a complaint are the contractors, because when these call-out fees are not being allocated and paid to them, they obviously would not have that income. But that certainly is something that we, as a City Power, entity of the city, as a corporate, we need to ensure that we spend money wisely. So whatever monies that we save as City Power in the city of Johannesburg would then ultimately benefit our residents.
The MMC says contractors have not been terminated.
Our contractors are still very much at work. It's just that part where our own internal resources can do the work. We will certainly do that, our part of the work internally, in-house. We don't need to go depend on an external contractor and pay 986 Rand. And what's also very exciting for us is that we are now reviving the training college of City Power. We are training 15 technicians. We are always upgrading our own skills to ensure that by the end of April we're going to have 50 more technicians being upgraded in terms of skill, so we can do much more and not having to depend on external resources. And this is, I think, a fair and balanced and certainly a positive approach for everyone, and mostly where our own technicians are able to upskill their competence, and we are able then to say to our residents that we are not only saving you money, but at the same time we are upskilling our own technicians.
City Power is often riddled by issues stemming from old infrastructure. How is the department addressing this?
Behind me you can see it's our Ridge substation. It's one of the very expensive facilities owned by the City of Joburg, City Power. But unfortunately some of our substations were built in the 1950s. Some of the cables underground were laid 70 years ago, so there are many aging infrastructure, technology that's obsolete. So our immediate goal is to ensure that we plow enough resources in terms of money and time and specialities, technical expertise back into replacing those aging infrastructure. One of the very important focus we have in the new budget in the coming financial year is to ensure that we have sufficient budget allocated to infrastructure investment. So we want to get rid of all this old infrastructure. But for the time being, you're asking us what we are doing. We have a dedicated maintenance team to go out on a weekly basis to maintain and repair a substation as the Ridge substation, to ensure that we stretch out that useful life just a little bit longer, so we are able to replace those 1950 old technology. Something very interesting, for example, in the Fours area and surrounds, residents out there have really been impacted by water outages. We are now almost at a completion of a bigger project to replace many of the valves and pipes in the Fours area. We're hoping that once the project's completed within the next week or two, then we're going to see lesser water outages in the Fours area. As I've said, we've gone out, we are starting to replace some of the old infrastructure.
The entity has also been plagued with instances of criminality.
Cable theft is becoming rife in the city of Johannesburg. In fact, it's becoming so bad there's no longer cable theft, it's now cable robbery. Last week we had 3 incidences where our external security guards are being attacked. Our guards at one of the substations in Sydney are being held at gunpoint. So armed criminals can rip out cables from the ground. These are serious issues that we need to look at. We are not only deploying extra security personnel, we are looking to install CCTV cameras in a full array of alarm systems. I've spoken to our mayor, executive mayor Mpho Phalatse, to show that we must engage with the provincial national law enforcement agencies to have those specialized units reinstated or established to focus on cable theft and infrastructure damage, so we can really, calm these things down into a manageable level, so our ultimate goal of uninterrupted service can be, the service that we bring to the city of Johannesburg.
My name is Gareth Cliff and you're watching Joburg Today.